So, to the people that care, excuse me, to the people that care, the Portland Trail Blazers beat the New York Knicks for the Summer League Championship. This is the first year that the Summer League champions will be rewarded rings and whatnot. That's not why I'm saying this. I'm saying this for a reason, and the reason is, of course, the Knicks have been in summer talks this has probably been the most aggressive they've been as far as going after young, talented players instead of those players already in their prime. Of course, I already signed Jalen Brunson to a 4-year, $106 million contract, I think. What's the final number?
Yeah, it was like 104.
104, okay.
Yeah.
And of course, there have been trade talks with I'm not saying there's been official trade talks, but
that's the rumors.
But the streets and the rumors are saying that the Knicks are looking to acquire Donovan Mitchell from the Utah Jazz. Of course, Donovan being a New York kid, and
trains there in the summer with his trainer Chris Brinkley. He's from New York, so like you just said,
right. And why I'm bringing this up because the Knicks over the last, I'll say, the 3 drafts have seemed to acquired a lot of young talent at a bunch of different positions. Maybe 4. Past 4 drafts, because I feel like Mitchell Robinson was the year before R.J. Barrett. But Mitchell Robinson, R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, Grimes, Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims, and like I say, one of the trades that have gotten out there between the Knicks and Utah, I'm rambling a bit, I'm going to do the intro in a minute, but the one that has been, I think it was Obi, Emmanuel Quickly, and Grimes, and 7 first-round picks.
Yeah, or 6. It was 6. When I saw it was 6, it was those 3 and 6 picks.
And I say that to say that shout out to the Knicks and World Wide West and all those guys over there in the front office who've done a good job accumulating young talent and trying to steer this team forward in the right direction. But to Knicks fans, I know y'all want to keep all these young players, but like most teams, like most fans of teams with young talent that they think can end up prospering and being playoff contenders, if y'all, like, at some point, all of them not going to be on the team. Like, they're just not. I'm not saying that they have to trade these players for Donovan Mitchell or any star player, but at some point when you see the team starting getting better and y'all think the Knicks have a chance to get better over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, some of these players not going to be there. So y'all got to right now, let's stop holding on to these players, especially if you can get a player like Donovan Mitchell. And real quick, I'm John W.
Fresh X.
And we are the Hoopers. And from outside looking in, of course you don't want to give up two young players who've already shown you they can give you good minutes in Quickly and Obi Toppin, and then like say a third young player, I think it was Quentin Grimes,
yeah, pretty sure it was Grimes,
and then 6 picks. Of course you don't want to give that all up, but when your team the Hawks were just in the same position last year where they had a lot of not necessarily young prospect talent, they had young talent that had already been in playoff situations and showing that, all right, we can keep this team together. Cam Reddish got traded at the trade deadline because it was just one too many players getting minutes. Seeing a team go through that, do you think is it worth the risk to trade young players and that many picks? I'm not saying the Knicks are or that they should, but do you think it's ever worth the risk, especially if you don't think, if the player isn't necessarily looked at as this gives us a championship chance?
Right.
Is the risk really worth the reward?
It is, and that's not to say to make that deal, because I think giving up 4 players and 6 picks for a player that hasn't made the conference finals yet is a bit too much.
Surely.
But 2 things. One, everybody don't love your young players as much as you do. Like, you may think the world of Quentin Grimes or of Deuce McBride. Like, I don't care about Deuce McBride. He can go, honestly. Maybe he has potential. He hasn't shown anything on the NBA level yet.
Not consistently, anyway.
And that's for every team. Because I remember that was all the thing with the Lakers for a while. Was THT.
Memphis Grizzlies now.
Miami. Everybody just thinks the world of some of their young players, and everybody doesn't think of highly of them. Some of them you think so much of them because they've embraced themselves with the crowd, the fans, and they become one of you. So that's why you think so highly of them. Secondly, you can't be afraid to make these moves, because at the end of the day, it's New York, and that's what the Knicks aren't trying to build a Warriors type team, and even the Warriors weren't trying to build a Warriors type team. It just kind of happens. You hit in the draft for a superstar player in Steph, and it just kind of works out because you can start building around Steph. But the Knicks, other than Patrick Ewing, Which one of their superstars they drafted? You got to go like before Pat to like Willis.
And this is no disrespect.
No. So no, I'm just saying when you just look at the market of their team, this is just thinking that the Lakers are gonna draft their next superstar. What player did the Lakers draft that was a superstar? Magic. They signed Shaq. Technically, they traded for Cody.
Well, James Worthy wasn't a superstar. Was he a superstar?
He was a superstar. He was the MVP in the league. James Worthy was a superstar.
My bad. Big game.
You signed Shaq, traded for Kobe, traded for Paul Gasol. You signed LeBron, you signed AD, traded for Dwight. They traded for Kareem. Like this is how it works for certain. This is how it works for certain teams. So a trade is gonna happen. I mean, you hope that you can build in the draft. Obviously, you hope that you get contributing players, but you're gonna. You want to. This is the move that you want to make. I'm not giving up too much for him though. First and foremost, you can have. If you're getting 3 players, you're probably getting 3 picks because their young players are better than the players out there. Because everybody's gonna say, "Oh, but Minnesota got different deal," and we can get. That, and I just want to let people know. I just feel like everybody's overreacting so much to the deal that was gotten for Rudy. I'm like, oh, this is gonna change the landscape. It's really not. Top players have always gone for a lot. Rudy Gobert is a future Hall of Famer. Oh, I know people don't want to hear that right now. He's going to the Hall of Fame. 3 Defensive Player of the Years, All NBAs, multiple All Stars, Olympic experience. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and he's not. Like, is he in his 30s yet? It's not surprising that you get a good haul for Rudy Gobert. Donovan Mitchell, who's thought of even highly of Rudy Gobert, more highly than Rudy Gobert, 25, averaged 25 last year, averaged 26 the year before, 3 straight All-Stars. You probably can guess if he goes to the East, he has 3 more on the way if he stays healthy. So he kind of fits your timeline of with your young players now, at least the players that you want to compete with, RJ, Jalen, Julius Randle if he works out and stays with them, because you want to have that and having some youth, and then at the same time he brings experience. He's been in the playoffs every year since he's been in the league, and I just told you he averaged 25 last year, 26 the year before. So that is a deal that you want to make, and I feel like his contract isn't so stupid where they can't still possibly get another player too. Like you probably get Donovan Mitchell and maybe you can get someone else to go with Donovan, Jalen, RJ. So like you said, you started this all with all these young players aren't going to stay on the team. All of them shouldn't. You shouldn't even want all of them on the team because they're not all going to work out the way you want them to work out. In the perfect world, we think, oh yeah, you got this team and this guy's going to play this role, that guy going to play that role. Like it rarely happens that way. Rarely. Like you might keep 2 or 3 of them. Even when we just talk about how well the Warriors have drafted, they've drafted super well. Kevon Looney is a role player, so he's going to take whatever he's happy to be there. He's a solid player. He's happy to be there. You draft Dre, Clay, Steph. That's 3 players. You just name like 5 that the Knicks. So, and even then, keep him. That's 4. You bring Jordan Poole. He's still young. We'll see how that situation looks in 2 years when he's ready to start. He's ready to get his money. We'll revisit that then or whatever. They traded for Wiggins and stuff like that. So, if I'm the Knicks, I'm trading for Donovan Mitchell. I want to trade for Donovan Mitchell. I don't want to, but I'm not overdoing it either because I'm also comfortable with what I got and waiting to trade to the trade deadline and your team is terrible and he asks out. Right. And then I can get him next season. Right. So I want to trade for him. I'm not afraid to trade anybody for him. Only I would want to keep RJ. Would I want to keep RJ? Yeah. I would want to keep RJ. I think if I move RJ, it's in another deal, not in the Donovan Mitchell deal. I would want to keep RJ, and like I would want to keep a combination of certain young players. Like if I'm bringing in Donovan Mitchell, I don't really care if I keep Quentin Grimes. He's taking his minutes away. So I would prefer Emmanuel Quickly over him because Emmanuel Quickly is gonna handle the ball a little more, in my opinion. Like, no, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I personally think. I look at Grimes more as a off the ball.
See, I know that's what
some people compare him to Allen Houston.
See, I actually have seen that. I've seen
because is Grimes is he gonna play point guard?
No, I seen somebody saying. So I can't think who it was, but he was there. I'm pretty sure he was. He's a part of Knicks Twitter, but they were saying if the Knicks do get Donovan Mitchell, the fans gonna have to temper how they feel about Quentin Grimes being a 3-and-D player because if you do have Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle,
which he can still come off that bench,
Derrick Rose as well, because I don't think he's a free agent. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure Derrick Rose situation.
Quentin Grimes is automatically going to be sliding in as a 3-and-D player and an emergency ball handler because of what you have around him already. Like, that's just how it is, and that's not to say that's what he has to be, but that's what more than likely, if you don't lose Quentin Grimes in a trade for another dynamic wing type player, that's what he is. He's going to be a 3-and-D.
Still got Cam Reddish. He's a 2-3. Which I wouldn't mind him being moved if he's in the deal. Like I said, of my wings, my guard wings, that's potentially to get moved is you just gotta lay them out quickly. RJ, Cam, and Quinn Grimes. Those are you would imagine they're gonna ask for maybe 3 of them, at least 2 of them. You can have Grimes and Cam. I would want Isaiah and I would Emmanuel. Excuse me. I would want Emmanuel quickly, and I would want RJ. And I would want Obi Toppin also.
Right.
But I would honestly want them to take Julius Randle over Obi.
Now, see, that's my thing.
But I don't know. If you're trading Donovan Mitchell or you're rebuilding, you don't want Julius Randle.
But that's the thing. I know Utah also does have a new Utah does have a new head coach. Shout out to Jason Terry, who was just named the assistant head coach.
Shout out to the shit. He's gonna be a head. Shout out to Kev. He said he's gonna be a head coach in 5 years. I guarantee you he's
no
right.
disrespect, but I can't think of Utah's head coach.
It's like, is it Will Hardy? He came from Boston. He was one of Ime's assistants.
Okay, but that's the question: is Utah looking at rebuilding, or
if they trade Donovan Mitchell? Yes, because now you left with Mike Conley. So
yeah, you're right.
So if they trade Donovan Mitchell, they try to rebuild.
I think you would get Julius Randle to ease the rebuild. I think you want him to. You either want to ease the rebuild,
he ain't about to change if y'all making the playoffs or not in the West. So
or you like if you getting players like Obi and whatnot. Are you semi-rebuilding to where it's like we got all these picks and now we can figure out what players fit best around Obi, whoever we think is going to be our centerpieces, and then maybe you move Mike Conley in a whole nother deal, because if you do trade Donovan Mitchell, you do have to trade Mike Conley as well.
That's how I feel also. And I mean, I honestly feel like Mike Conley would probably want to be traded. And if I'm certain teams and they get rid of Donovan Mitchell, I'm actually kind of trying to call for Mike Conley, because I think Mike Conley,
because he out the door. Yeah,
I feel like he helps certain teams. I mean, he helps a lot of players. If you rebuilding, what's the point of having Mike Conley? Obviously, veteran, help teach the young guys, be professional, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mike Conley's probably trying to compete for a championship. He's not done yet. You know what I mean? Like, he can still start for some teams or be a quality backup.
So this definitely that's matter of fact. We ain't got to go there today because we can go there another time. But Mike Conley, there definitely would be a market for Mike Conley if
I think so.
Does decide to fully blow it
Especially
up.
a team that, because I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind coming off the bench. But I think he could still start if certain teams.
Depending on what the Lakers do, I think the Lakers should go look for maybe as a starter or a backup. If Washington just want another good player in the backcourt with Bradley Beal, they don't necessarily have a starter quality point guard right now.
I mean, Dallas just lost their point guard.
Dallas,
he works
absolutely.
He works there.
There's just a few off top of the head. That's just a few off top of the head.
But to wrap it up on the Knicks, honestly, I think the Knicks should try to make this deal a 25-year-old all-star player. I'm not going to call Donovan Mitchell a superstar because he's not that yet, but a 25-year-old all-star that's looking like he could be the best shooting guard in the league this year, next year, going forward. I would make that deal. I'm not overpaying for him, though, because I'm not going to act like he's been to the finals. I'm going to appreciate what he's done, appreciate his 3 straight all-star appearances, appreciate him averaging 25 last year, 26 the year before. I'm just not giving you... I feel I got enough quality young players to go with those picks that I'm not giving you 6 picks and 3 players. It's not happening.
No, for sure. But shout out to the Knicks, like I say, who looks like they might be building in the right direction. But to get away from the Knicks, DeAndre Ayton, whose contract situation with Phoenix has been up in the air for a full season. The Indiana Pacers put out an offer sheet to him of 4 years, $133 million, and the Phoenix Suns instantly matched that. And it got me, as soon as they matched it, got me thinking they were just trying to see what his value was and what could they spend on him realistically without having to spend their own money at the end, but they don't have to be the only, they don't have to, I don't think they overpaid for him with this. I feel like if they would have just got a contract, if he would have got a contract with Phoenix without going through Indiana, it probably would have been closer to 150.
It would have been bigger than that. I honestly think they were looking for him to just go out there and get a deal because they didn't want to give him that 5th year, because 4 years at 133 is what? That's about 33 a year. So you give him that 5th year You know what I mean? That 133 turns to 166, 170 range. Not counting if he makes all NBAs, so then he started getting to the Supermax range.
Yep.
I think that they wanted the 4th year. They wanted him to go out and see if somebody else was going to give him that deal. I do agree with that. They want to see where the value was at. I think it was stupid to play that game with him, though, if you weren't prepared to lose him or prepared to alienate him. Even though I'm so far against all right, now you gotta bring him back in and mend the relationship and coddle this and that. And you gave him that deal, so that shows you want him there, because they could have let him go.
Absolutely.
They could have let him go.
Right.
They did not have to pay that deal, and I think they could have replaced him and still made the second round, but him on the team gives them a chance to go to the finals. They can replace him and still make the playoffs.
And honestly,
but he's a difference.
I feel like if they would have lost him, they would have found a more compatible center for what they want to do with Chris Paul and Devin Booker.
They would have made, because they lost McGee also, so they would have brought Biyombo back. He would have had 5 good games out of the season.
They would have got another rim runner and not necessarily a low post.
And they would have been good enough to make the playoffs, but they would have been going home first or second round. So I think they shouldn't have played the game with him, because for one, I don't think Ayton has been able to show everything that he can do. Truthfully, he's shown a little bit of his game. 17 and 10 last year. I think he's 18 and 10 for his career, but they don't really go to him offensively like I think they could. Like, he's not just a lob guy or the pick and roll partner. I mean, you do want to do some pick and rolls with him, some pick and pops with him and stuff like that, but I do think that they can go to him a little more offensively, and I think he can give more defensively, be more of a threat at the rim. Like, he didn't even average a block a game last year. I think he should be at a block and a half a game. So it's definitely room for him to improve. And I know you look at the people drafted under him and then you think, oh, do we want to give him the Supermax? But you know what he has under those people, over those people that drafted under him that did get their Supermax deals, in particular Trey and Luka? He's been to the NBA Finals. So they have it. We gave Trey a lot of stock for making the conference finals. It helped Luka a lot this year for making the conference finals. He's done that and made the finals. So I think people need to put some more respect on him doing that, because he was a key part to them making the finals. Like, we can go back and watch them playoff games.
Not even just watch. Just listen to how people was talking about him. Like,
he mattered in them series. So,
like, for sure. But just looking at Indiana, and that was like a super aggressive move if you really think about
Indiana
it.
don't do often.
Right, especially for a team. We don't know if they're rebuilding or reloading or what they plan on doing next year. I think it would have been a good look for Indiana if they could have somehow got DeAndre Ayton, because I think him and Halliburton could have been a good 1-2 punch, and it's a team where you can throw the ball. He's got to get touches on his own in the post or at the elbow or whatever, to where he can produce more numbers. But just looking at that, Indiana not getting that player. Of course, they drafted Mathurin out of Arizona, be on the wing, be an aggressive wing type, athletic wing.
Yep. Got Halliburton. Miles
Turner still there. Buddy Hill still there. I think they actually read up Buddy Hill, if I remember correctly, the other day. This is probably the only time we're going to talk about Indiana until the season starts, honestly. What do you see Indiana trying to do this year? Is this just because I don't feel like they got too many players at so many positions to where it's like they throwing things against the wall to see what sticks, but I also don't feel like they have this super overly talented young roster that when they saying we can build. What is it that you think Indiana's true plan is?
Honestly, I think they coming out this year because, for one, you got Rick Carlisle. Whenever you got a veteran coach like that, he's trying to compete for the playoffs. Not necessarily compete for the championship, but compete for the playoffs.
Right.
And they did say it was more of a reset than a rebuild, but like you say, you just lost Brogdon, but they were really aggressive on trying to get Ayton. I think Indiana wants to see where they're at in the first half of the year.
Right.
If these players, because even though they have young players like Chris Duarte, he was a rookie last year, but he was an older rookie. Halliburton, I feel like, he's like 21, 22
right,
or whatever.
Even if you just look at some of their ages, you ain't got to go through it, but some of their key players are a bit on the older sides for where they're at in the NBA.
Right, they're not crazy young. So a team like this is one of those teams where, especially when you coach well, you got the good culture. Miles Turner, if he's healthy, Halliburton, if he's healthy, Buddy Hield, Karis LeVert, you could see this team competing for a play-in because they have players like Karis could go for 40 one night, and now you beat the Lakers or the Brooklyn Nets or something like that. Obviously, they wouldn't be.
They don't have Caris. He's in Cleveland.
My bad. I'm looking at Indiana roster from last year. Excuse me. But like they have players like Halliburton. You know what I mean? They can have big nights, Buddy. They can have big nights and they can win games because they gonna play the right way. They you know what I mean? They just got potential. That's basically where I was going with that, where they can win some games.
Sure.
So I think they want to see where they at. And then if they're like so far away, that's when you offload some of the older players. They don't have no crazy contracts. Like Buddy Hield probably has the biggest deal on the team or whatever, but just to see where they are, and then they kind of go from there. But yeah, my bad about Caris LeVert. I forgot he went to Cleveland. He went to Cleveland.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just looking at their roster, and he, that's why his name came to mind.
No, yeah, I definitely, I feel you. Like I say, Indiana's definitely a team that has young potential, and just even look at. We were talking about it when DeAndre Ayton signed the contract, not even thinking if Phoenix would or would not match it, but just the potential we thought that team had, especially with DeAndre Ayton and Miles Turner, and we both kind of got agreed that Miles Turner next to DeAndre Ayton as more of a help defender, to where he's just rotating for blocks and stuff like that. He probably would have been able to get his chance to get up there for Defensive Player of the Year. And like I said, I just want to see now what Indiana do, because I'm guessing that was their 1A plan to be in a playoff team this year. So it's like, what do they go for now? Because you got to spend that money regardless. It's like
right. And they clearly had it. They offered him for 133. I wonder, did they really think that they were gonna get him too? Because we saw the rumor mills of Phoenix doesn't think he's a max player. DeAndre Ayton, that is, and right. People legit. I never thought, for one, you're not letting the number 1 pick walk and you get nothing. I never for 1 second thought that Phoenix wasn't gonna match that deal. And I even tweeted the next day, like when Indiana offered DeAndre Ayton the deal, and I remember seeing, I think it was Brian Windhorst was on TV, and he was just going on about how Phoenix hasn't, they don't view him as a max player. And I was just remember thinking, like, I don't care what I viewed him as. I'm not letting the number 1 pick walk and I don't get nothing. Like, it's not happening. And especially, I can see if he averaged 9 points last year, 8 points, 6. No. Like, he averaged 17. He averaged 17 and 10. And he's not even a focal point in the offense for real. He averaged 17 and 10. I'm not letting that walk for nothing. Even if I don't want him on the roster, even if this, he can't get traded to like the trade deadline basically now. Even if the players still like, we're gonna see how this works. If it don't work, I'm gonna trade him at the trade deadline. I'm trading him and I'm getting some for him, and somebody will give you a little bit more for him because he's under contract for the next 4 years. So, they know that he ain't going nowhere. But James Jones didn't get the nickname champ by letting number 1 picks walk away for nothing. So,
right. So, speaking of contracts, of course, we've all heard the KD and Kyrie trade talks. I ain't finna speak on whether they get traded or not. I ain't finna speak on how I really feel about them asking for trades or whatnot, because they can do what they want. They're grown men. This is their job, and first and foremost, their job is to want to be comfortable, right? And they don't feel like they can be comfortable in Brooklyn. But one thing, I should have went back and checked again, but I'm pretty sure people just don't lie about contracts. But the one thing I feel like people haven't mentioned in all of this, Sean Marks hasn't picked up his option to stay the GM past this season. And of course, it's like, of course, this is the GM, so it's like, what does that matter? But when the GM hasn't necessarily picked up his option, like you say, of course, the reports are KD only has one team that he wants to get traded to, or is only a 1-team trade market. Kyrie, the same thing. When your GM isn't necessarily there for the long term, and do you still blame? I know not you. You don't blame KD and Kyrie. You cool with the massive trades. That's what they want to do, or whatever they want to do with their careers. But when the GM isn't necessarily committed to the long term, do you really care that the players ask for the trade after that? After hearing that type of information?
Right. That's something that you have to think, because you go there to work with him, and they work with the owner. Because it says that KD, he submitted his trade straight to Joe, to Shai, their owner or whatever. So, I think that would play a part in it, because, the GMs don't just, presidents of basketball operations don't just up and leave for teams like that. So, when you hear that, you have to wonder, does that play a role in it, especially if he's the one that brought y'all in,
right,
or whatever. So I would wonder if that played a role in it, for KD more in particularly. I kind of feel like I know why Kyrie's situation. You don't know because you're not there, but I feel like I can understand why Kyrie's situation is going how it went just because of the vaccination stuff last year and his history of injuries. And because I mean, at some point, like I feel like people be trying to make too big of a deal with. I mean, it's more Stephen A in particular, I guess, but I don't like when people trying to question, which, like I said, I guess that's more Stephen A. Is he committed to basketball? I always felt like, all right, the injuries is one thing. You injury prone. We can say that.
Right.
But
surely.
Questioning if he's committed to basketball because of what happened last year and with the vaccination, which is the first time anybody has ever dealt with something like that ever. That's when stuff like that just get mucky to me, and I stay out of those conversations because I don't think it's a fair one. But so I can see more of the ups and downs with Kyrie. The KD thing is a little more strange, but maybe the Sean Marks situation is probably what plays a part in that.
No, yeah, I definitely get what you mean by that. And like I said, it's just a crazy situation. Whatever happens. Because I feel like, if they don't get traded, they're going to be professional about it and go out there and play.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting traded more than likely anyway.
Nah, yeah. Real quick, I guess semi-basketball news. LeBron James played in the Drew League the other night. Was that yesterday or today?
Yeah, yesterday.
Saturday.
Night.
He played in the Drew League for the first time since the 2011 lockdown. Of course, he went out to score 40. Him and DeMar DeRozan was on the same team.
Yeah, DeMar, the one who asked him to come play.
Right. I think what they won ended up winning by 4. I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Matter of fact, unless they got fouled in it was a one possession game, basically coming down to the end.
But of course, right. But Twitter's on fire right now because everybody's making fun. Everybody's getting their jokes off. I don't think they're making fun of being disrespectful to the players. But at the end of the day, regardless of who plays in these Drew League, Rucker, AEBL, whatever's in Charlotte, no disrespect to them, DC, these are adult basketball leagues. So, of course, if somebody's from the outside looking, of course, the joke is going to be LeBron. Imagine you had to work the first shift at FedEx, now you got to guard LeBron. They've been making that joke about LeBron since he was in high school. Imagine you going to science class in the morning, now you got to guard LeBron in the afternoon. It's no different. I think sometimes we get a bit too sensitive.
People don't know who in the Drew League. Just say that because I guarantee you that game with LeBron, all them dudes played professionally. They were overseas.
No, players. Yeah, like I said, I feel like
they aren't guys that are going to clock in tomorrow. I guarantee you that.
For the most part,
that game in particular, the overall whole league, yeah, you're gonna have some people that probably used to play pro and now they got regular jobs. But a game like when LeBron is on the court, those games are very strategically put together.
Nah, yeah. And like I say, I don't think all the jokes, I don't think all of this, but I think it's just some people just making jokes, whether you think the jokes are funny or not. But I think it was cool to see LeBron playing the game, like I said, his first time since 2011, because LeBron doesn't necessarily play summer basketball. If clearly not much if he's outside of training. And of course, this is something you see a lot. We got some friends. Shout out to Ricardo and Dez. They were talking about this earlier in our group chat, in our group text chat. Ricardo was basically saying how LeBron basically contradicts himself about having a short turnaround from a season where he come playing a meaningless game. But it's like, it's just a basketball game, bro. Like,
right.
This is what players have always done this, and the fact LeBron isn't gonna play in any other games. DeMar is gonna play in at least another 4. He gonna play for the rest of the league.
He played the whole summer.
Like
league,
Nick Young hasn't gotten out there yet.
Nick is in the big 3.
The game hasn't put his full celebrity team out there yet. This is what these leagues are, especially during the summertime, where you can get some of these NBA players out there that know people in these areas. It's a city league. It's for the community first and foremost. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be some other stuff LeBron had going on as well. But like I say, LeBron had 40. Skip Bayless was overly critical for no reason, because that's what Skip Bayless do.
This is the only kind of content Skip got. That's why I don't take him serious no more.
But
that's why he chose Shannon. You get a LeBron lover to go against the LeBron hater. That's the whole basis of it.
Not yet. But just as far as just for the Drew League. And of course they've had, Kobe, James Harden, all players out there. But to get LeBron out there at this late in his career, how big of a look is that, honestly?
I think it's a better look for LeBron just because you there with the Lakers. That's a good way just to show that you still embracing the city, especially after, you got the wherever Bronny goes, I'm gonna be there. And some people, even though he signed an extension not too long ago, some people, you always got the people that question his motives, and basically is he just, taking on and embracing the fans of the city. So that's a way to get, it's going to be people that can't come see you play in Staples Center this year. So that's a way for them to get, and even if you do,
Crypto,
it's different. This is crypto now. The crypt. So that's even different from that. It's more because obviously it's a smaller gym of it in a gym instead of an arena. So it's a different way for people to see you play. So I think it's more so about that. Like I said, everybody gonna joke about the competition, but I don't really find it funny. 'Cause I think the players out there can play, and I guarantee you, the people that's making the conversation, you won't look good playing against them players. I would bet top dollar that you won't look good playing against them people on the court. But it's cool to see him do that for the city, especially at this age. I think whenever LeBron does stuff like that, though, you could tell he's kind of itching to play. That's what I took out of it more than anything. That he was itching to play. He's itching to get back on the court. I feel like it just seems like he feels a sense of urgency of one, getting older, two, them not making the playoffs last year. Like he's always looks in shape, right? But he looks like he's in really, really, really good shape.
You like to see him play more games, even if it's just one more game?
In the Drew League, I think one is good enough. I mean, it'd be cool if he did play another. I wouldn't say no, but I don't think he has to play another one. But I think LeBron going out and trying to win MVP this year. That's the type of shape that he looked in. I'm taking away from the game and what happened in the game, just how he looked on the court or whatever. But I feel like this year we've seen a lot more video of LeBron working out and stuff more so. Like he posts stuff occasionally, but like early in the summer they was posting when he was in New York with Chris Brinkley. And now you get the Drew League, which, to answer your question, I wouldn't be surprised if he did pop up and do one more because of that. But I just think it's a good look whenever those players show. That's a way of giving back to the city, honestly. It's a free game. And they get to come just watch you play. And then, I saw Skip. And forget Skip, but Skip, he went 2 for 13. I don't care. LeBron went 2 for 20. They want you to see you shoot the ball out there. Like,
there's no reason
it ain't about your efficiency. Go out there, shoot the ball, have
fun,
make some clutch plays in the fourth. Go ahead and win, get 40 points.
Right.
Like that's all that matters. I mean, when KD scored 60 in the Rucker, he took like 40 shots.
Yeah, too right.
So,
but fact,
it happens. Nobody expected you to go out there and go, 12 for 12. 20 for 20. We just expect you to shoot the ball, run up and down, get some dunks, make a LeBron pass, maybe get a chase down block or whatever. Right. So it's always like to give back to the city like that because he don't got to do that. That's
he don't. Cool. And real quick, Malachi Flynn, I forgot what league he was in. He had 73.
Jamal Crawford lead, the crossover. 73. As soon as I saw that, I was like, is he gonna? Am I gonna have to paint Pritchard him this year? He gonna leave all his points in Seattle?
No, he probably is.
Payne Pritchard did in Portland.
But I just wanted to comment on this real quick. I like seeing the NBA players playing these games because I feel like they get to play outside of the structure of an NBA game, to where regardless of what LeBron can do on the court, he's still only gonna do this because this is what the game need of him. KD, like I say, he went and dropped 60. That's probably the most shots he's ever gonna shoot in any basketball setting. Kobe being ultra aggressive, coming out and being flashy. Because of course when he was at the Rucker, he was younger, so he got to be flashy. He got to be outside of his shell. Like I know at the Drew they wanted him to leave, but he wanted to play overtime.
Right. And they was losing. That's why they was like, they was down like 8. I think it was. So they was like, you got to go. And he was like, nah, I got to at least finish the game.
Dang, right.
And he ended up hitting the shot to send it overtime.
You just get to see a different side of players' games that they might not get to do because, like I say, the structure of an NBA team and how you play, officiating in the NBA, you gonna get away with more in the Drew than you gonna get away with in the NBA, so you can get some crossovers off. I think Kyrie was was at the Drew. I don't know if he ended up playing or not, but I know.
He was Cause he's in LA. He was at
I know he was
Sports Academy.
He was
at Phil Handicap
at the. He ain't playing the Drew.
At the Mamba.
It was rumored he was supposed to play in Drew. It wasn't necessarily. It wasn't a guarantee.
Just because LeBron was playing. But
Phil was.
Well, it's back to the Sports Academy now. But at he was at a basketball camp at the Mamba Academy.
Okay, Phil.
They changed the name back to the Sports Academy because they didn't want to. basically like they didn't want people to think they were trying to eat off of Kobe's name or whatever to see one around him more, but we still call it the Mom Brother.
No, surely. But like I say, summer basketball is so today was the last day of summer league, which means probably gonna be a little downtime until until camp starts. So of course, be careful because the rumor mills will be churning with trades and firings and who don't like who and who don't want to play where. And to that, all I'm gonna say is, just double check every source you see. Double check those sources' references. Make sure these stories lined up because you don't want to be going around saying this player's going there when this player's under contract for another 4 years for one team. Like summertime, everybody's finna be bored, so don't be on Twitter complaining about what's on SportsCenter about basketball because there's nothing basketball going on right now.
It ain't even especially if you're going to SportsCenter in July looking for basketball, you're not a real hooper.
So whatever
this ain't basketball.
So when you turn on ESPN and they talking about the NBA, be ready to hear them talk about trades, personality type things, off-season stuff, because there's no basketball to talk about. With that being said, Friday we started a Twitter post. We're gonna start posting, try to get one off every day, if not 2 to 3 times a week. It's inspired by our homie Nick Andre. It's just gonna be a "Do you remember that player?" post. We're not gonna get too detailed into it. We're just gonna put up numbers and the picture of a player so you can have a reference to who we're talking about. Friday was Mitch Richmond, who came in the NBA at a time where it was tough for shooting guards or wing players in general. If you're between like 6'5" and 6'8", you are automatically Michael Jordan Jr. And every player I don't think every player made it out of that comparison. I feel like Mitch Richmond is one of the few players who did. All rookie of the year, 5-time All NBA, All-Star Game MVP, averaged 20 points for his career, one-time champion with the Lakers later on in his career, career high 42 points, one time in Sacramento, one time in Golden State. Just all around good shooting guard. If he was I'm not gonna say if he was in the NBA today what he would be doing, but if his style of players can post up, strong offensively, and he averaged 1.5 steals for his career as well, so he was playing defense. Those are the type of wing players you're looking for. So Mitch Richmond was always one of my favorite players as well, so shout out to Mitch Richmond. He also wore 23.
I mean, it's like you say, it's fair to say, if nothing else, with how the game has shifted to, for one, he was on a team that played this style that they play now, pushing the pace when it wasn't popular, playing smaller ball when it wasn't popular, playing a more perimeter game when it wasn't, it just wasn't the thing.
Right.
So to think that a guy that averaged 20 points, what's that, 10 years in a row, would do anything less than that is disrespectful.
Right. I'm not gonna say what he would do because that's still a what if, but he would do that though. But those are his type of players, the type of player that you look for.
Yeah, 10 years straight, he averaged 22 points per game from his rookie year.
And his best stretch was between, I think, 95, 96 to 97, 98, where he went for 23, 25, and 23.
Right, so
3-year stretch.
To say he would do anything less than that is crazy. 6'5", 215, solid size. Like you said, Mitch had a really nice shot, 38% from 3 for his career, 45 from the field. I mean, I'm willing to bet Mitch Richmond in the NBA nowadays is 20.
That's way over league average from 3.
Right. I mean, that's over league average nowadays. And 3.5. 3.5. Right, exactly. 3.5 threes a game. So obviously that number would be up. But like in 95, 96, he took 6 threes a game, 43% from the field, from 3.
That's
97, 5.9 threes. I round that up to 6 a game, 42 from the field. So
this was as the primary scorer at Diddy's time on the Sacramento Kings team, so the volume was there.
Exactly. So the volume is there because I wouldn't even say like everybody's not shooting 10 threes a game.
No,
honestly,
that's
like
ridiculous.
People are shooting 5, 6.
It's realistically it's between
5, 6
and
3
and 8.
Yeah.
And you got Steph and James Harden.
Right. So
Trae Young.
He would shoot. I feel like if Mitch played today, he would shoot between 6 and 8 threes a game, 5 and 8 threes a game, like you just said. So it would be fair to think he'd still be around 38%. 6'5".
His numbers will go up just off attacking the back, being able to attack the basket.
Consistent 23 to 25 points per game.
I think he would have that 1 year where he'd be at 27 just because he had a crazy year.
Yeah, what he did then, he will do now, plus a little more. and there's more room for shooting guards to eat right now, because the thing I like seeing the most on Twitter is people always love to say the biggest lie told about the 90s is Michael Jordan was the only star. It's just that he was just so good. You forget how good, other players was. Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, those players with injuries. Mitch Richmond, Patrick Ewing, Steve Smith, David Robinson, Hakeem. Like, it was some hoopers in the 90s, and Mitch was one of them.
Nah, for sure. But other than that, you got anything else? I think I ain't got nothing else for today.
No, just as always, shout out to anybody that checks out the podcast weekly. We came back, went live again this week. Shout out to everyone that checks out the lives weekly. Shout out to the Off the Ball Network. Everybody over there, obviously, shout out to them, and support we always give them Off the Ball. You can find us anywhere podcasts are available. Just search the Hoopers Pod, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, all those cool places. Every Wednesday, the Hoopers Afternoon Session, we are going back strong Wednesdays. I believe we'll be on this week. If not, we'll let y'all know, but I'm pretty sure we'll be on this week. Every Wednesday, 12 o'clock, Hoopers Afternoon Session. Go to the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube page, search the Hoopers Pod on YouTube. Appreciate everyone that's been checking out that. We got, some YouTube content coming on there from our summer session series that we just kicked off. Gonna start putting up some more of our, we started this Hoopers thing with doing the pod and posting our pickup games. Whether it was at the gym or just at the park. That's kind of where it all started. So, gonna definitely trying to, we're putting together some content to put together on YouTube to show just some of the hoop sessions. We the Hoopers for a reason. So, shout out to that. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube, follow us on Twitter. Just look for Hoopers Pod on Twitter. We all over there. And like I said, anywhere podcasts are available. iHeartRadio, Google, Spotify, Pandora, TuneIn Radio, Apple Podcasts. That's where I listen to it at. All those cool places.
All right, and I'm John Debbie.
Fresh X.
And we are the Hoopers.